Hello, and we're back. Sorry about that. Jump cut because I had a text message that I had to reply to. So again, I'm doing this on my phone, don't have a proper camera. Right, so yeah, so that's the hammer down. So his final finisher is Broken Wings. So you can refocus my camera there. It's a finishing submission. Very nice, nasty looking crossface there. +1 to grapple, +3 to technique. Simple on that one. In that case, rolling all his technique dice, it would have helped. But yeah, so there's his three. As you can see, as I said before, they do follow various gimmicks in this. It's a biker gimmick on that front, looking very kind of Scott Hall. Scott Steiner, even, I think I'm supposed to be thinking of. Big Papa Pump there. But yeah, so that's the box set in there. Say, 2-play box set, available from their website. All these are available from their website. I just get them because obviously I back them on the Kickstarter. Rules leaflet is here. I'm not going to go through it, obviously. It's going to take quite a while on that front, but there you go. That's all set up for it. It's very, very simple. You just get it out of the box and away you go. Put it in there. I have, say, all the stuff on the other one, I have sleeved up in white sleeves for the good guys, for the faces, and black sleeves for the heels. Just because on that front, I just really wanted to be fair. But I say, the decks are basically the same. When I'm going to be playing it with my friends, I just basically say, look, pick which character you want to have. Thanks to my wife, she came up with the idea of just go, look, sleeve up the actual characters separately and just say to people, look, here's this is the deck for you. If I ever wanted to set something up where I get to use the promo cards a bit more, be a bit more competitive with it, perhaps, maybe so. So unfortunately, I'm unable to get across to America to take part in the actual competitive stuff that goes on over there. So this is the deck. This is the big shot on the train wreck. Can't see it very well there. Yeah, big shot on the train wreck. Train wreck's got a very Dean Ambrosey look to him. I keep calling the train wreck. It's actually the wreck. I do apologise. It's the wreck. So, a Dean Ambrosey look going on there with him. That's fair enough. I'm not a massive fan of Dean Ambrose, but doesn't stop me liking this guy. When your opponent hits a strike, draw one card. Your next turn is +1. Again, very cool on that one. So that's dependent on your opponent doing something as well, which is great. This is how, like I say, you have these things where you'd think it would get very samey with having, even if you ran exactly the same 1 to 27 decks, you think it would get very samey, but those things in the dice make it very, very random on that front. Well, not very random, but it adds a random element. It's billed as the world's first unpredictable card game, and that's actually really good. It's not an annoying side thing which you think might happen and distract from the actual game. It enhances it, if anything else, because you're on the edge of your seat, waiting, you roll your dice, your opponent's got your card out, damn it, you had your finisher in your hand ready to go, now you've got to kick out of his. It's really as well. Anyway, I'm going to just quickly run through the finishes for them. Say 1 to 27, they're the same in all, pretty much all the decks, I do believe. So I'm just going to run through the actual finishes. So, the Rex finishers, you have Concussion Fist. That's his strike finisher. Your technique and power are +1 for each strike your opponent has in play. If your opponent hit a follow-up strike last turn, this card is also a lead. Very useful there, so you can go, that goes down instead as a lead card if they've used a follow-up, so then you can build on this one. If they kick out of this, of course, cards are taken off the table anyway, so it's not really like it's a thing in there, but there you go. It does also, if they've just used a follow-up card on their turn, this is a lead instead of a finisher. So, oh no, it's a lead as well as a finisher. I do apologise. I'm not even reading the cards I've got in front of me. So that stops. So where I said before, where you had to have a lead, a follow up, and then a finisher. If they play the follow up, this suddenly becomes a lead card and a finisher at the same time. So they then have to try and kick out to this one. Very useful, actually. I can see that being a very useful kind of snap finisher. Be very quite cool. You've got his head-on collisions, his finishing grapple. Nice DDT there. +4 to technique, +1 to grapple, draw 2 cards, very simple card effect. The ICU, I think that's like an STF. I do apologise about naming conventions. I do know some of the names, but not all of them. So, +2 to power, +3 to technique. When this card is in your discard pile, if your opponent hits a grapple, you may shuffle it into your deck. Very, very good on that one. Again, if that's in the discard pile, it's usually useless. That case is going straight back into his deck, which can of course then be drawn at a later time. Again, inside the box, exactly the same. I've not taken the big shot out of his deck, just out of his packaging, just because I won't probably until I get them sleeved. I don't need to go through him. See there. The interest in this one came with the little plastic wallet on the sleeve there. The other one didn't, but it doesn't really matter on that front. I guess it's to stop it banging around, getting all cut up and everything. I'll put that in properly so I don't wreck the cards. Aha, wreck the cards, indeed. Anyway, final box. You have Sage the Wiccan Witch versus Chamomile Tea. Their first all-female one they've done. They touted it quite highly. Of course, the thing with this is that you don't have to play just female wrestlers against female wrestlers if you don't want to. You can, if you want to, play any of these guys against the guys. It doesn't really matter. Just before I go into these, I will say, just quickly run through the crowd meter. This is what I was on about earlier on. So when a finisher is kicked out of, you have crowd meter here. It always starts at level 1. So, sorry, it always starts at blank. What am I about? It always starts at blank. Kick out the first finisher, all finish rolls +1, +2, 3, 4, 5. If it ever gets number 5, you basically got like no cards, probably no cards left in your deck, and it's like the last gasps of the wrestlers in the ring trying to get their opponents down. So all finisher +5. I mean, that's a pretty much, unless you roll your skill, which is the number 5, that's going to be a win for yourself. So yeah, I'll just bring the characters out here. So you have, I'll start with Chamomile Tea actually. So yeah, Chamomile Tea, Power 6, Technique 7, Agility, Strike, Submission. So highest one's the Agility, which plays into a gimmick as well. When you roll Agility, you may draw 1 card and then bury one card in your hand. Very good. It gives you a bit of a hand advantage. It lets you choose what's in it. Her finishes are the Sleepy Time Punch, finishing Strike there, +3 to power, +1 to strike. So it takes a power up to 9 and a strike up to 8 on if you manage to roll either one. That's what they would be. Opponent buries 3 cards in their hand. Very useful as a finisher. So even if you don't win with that finisher, you've taken 3 cards away from them. Right. So the Spiced Rack. That's Torture Rack there, finishing Grapple. +3 to power, +4 to grapple. Shuffle up to 3 cards from your discard pile into your deck. Very useful, everyone can see that one there. And then her finishing submission of Honey, It's Over. Again, loving the artwork on these cards. It's just as good as the previous lot, in all fairness, as from the previous set. There's only a couple of the competitors which I don't, and that's more just due to I'm not a fan of the newer artists they got in on it, but these are absolutely amazing, proper spot on. +1 to Technique, +3 to grapple. If you roll Agility for your turn, roll this card. Is also a follow-up. So that's, again, it plays into her ability there. So if you roll Agility, you may draw 1 card and then bury 1 card in your hand. So if you've done that and then you land this finisher as well, this turn's also a follow-up. So you don't need it as a finishing card. If you've only got leads on the board, but you roll Agility, got that in your hand, bang, you can roll that in. There you go. Also on that front, so you're rolling your Agility on that, then you roll to see what it is. So very, very good. Right, that just leaves from this set, that just leaves Sage, the Wiccan Witch. Very different to Chamomile Tea there. Her power is 10, Technique of 5, Agility 7, Strike 9, Submission 8. You can just see them there as to how they measure up against each other. So she's a lot more of a powerful character, power grappler sort of thing going on. With her gimmick is when you roll power, flip 3 cards, then shuffle 2 cards from your discard pile into your deck. That's the gimmick. That's the mechanic I was talking about earlier on, the one that I couldn't find the card for. Flipping 3 cards, basically milling 3 cards from the top of your deck, shuffle 2 of those cards back into it. So you're flipping them over, you don't know what they are when you flip them, then you get to choose which 2 go back into your deck. So you are still losing 1 card, but then you're gaining a bit more advantage on that one. So, her finishers are the 7 Wonders, finishing Strike. I do believe she's got a bit of a page motif going on, it seems, by the look of her, but I could be wrong. It could just be the pale look. So, 7 Wonders, that's her delivering the 7 Wonders to Razzle Dazzle, the special from the last one. promo card from the last one. Flip 4 cards and add 3 cards from your discard pile to your hand. Now that one, as you can see, doesn't have any pluses to her actual stats. So if you roll, when you roll for your finishing, it doesn't affect how you actually roll for your finishing move. You roll to see which one you go against, which one your opponent tries to kick out against. In this case, it's just this, so flip 4 cards, add 3 from your discard pile to your hand. Very good card, actually, I would say, on that one, especially if coupled. If you did roll power for that turn, you already roll 3, put 2 back into your deck, so you could choose to have that last one come back into your hand if you hit that in the turn. If you hit that one. So, then her follow-up, the Book of Spells. That is, I believe, was it the Book of Ezekiel Jackson did that kind of move. It's basically rock bottoms, very nice looking artwork on the card. That one does have extras to the stats, plus 2 to grapple. When this card is flipped, your opponent buries 1 card in their hand. So if you flip this one using her other abilities, you would then have to get your opponent would then have to discard 1 of their card, basically put it to the back of their deck. Her finishing submission is the Witch's Brew. Quite sure what it is. It won't focus quite well. I think it's like a chicken wing or surfboard. It's very cool, nonetheless. Yeah, very cool. Plus 3 technique, plus 2 submission. You may shuffle your hand into your deck and draw the same number of cards. It's very nice. There are cards. Just take the fan off. Sorry. There are cards which will let you draw a certain amount as well. Go above hand size. Again, it's been a while since I've played, but I do believe, if I remember correctly, that the hand size is set and you can't go above it usually. So it would be quite useful if you had something like that. Do a bit of a combo, tag team combo, straight into it, have X amount of cards in your hand, off you go. So, yeah, so that was the characters from this set. They were quite cool. Like I said, the artwork on them very, very good. The new characters introduced are quite cool. I do like the gimmicks. I quite like Sage, the Wiccan Witch. Her abilities seem like they'd be very fun to play with. I do like the look of Chamomile Tea. I think she's very good. The other ones, they're quite good. They're not my favourites, I must admit. I think my favourites were in the last one was a promo guy called Dan the Devil's Advocate Williams. Just simply because he was a solicitor in the middle of the ring. I'm trying to get this in here and it will not do. Right, that's fine. Right, so what else came in the box? Well, probably people were wondering about the big rolled up bundle. I'll do that now. So the simple two, they're playmats basically. With this game, I got 5 playmats, which were very good, to be fair. So some of them were through stretch goals, some of them were just backing at the level. I did spend, as is usual, Kickstarter far too much money on this. I backed at the level which gave, I think, 3 playmats already. Got a stretch goal of an extra playmat. I was within the first 100 backers, so the promo cards I got like 3 copies of them, which was very good. I really enjoyed that. So the actual ring mats are like I believe it's neoprene, I believe the makeup. It kind of has that weird smell to it where it's like it's more like the mats in cars, but I like them. To be fair, I like the smell. But yeah, so the mats are. I believe this is the Psycho Rules one. I'll have to bring my camera up a bit just to show you this, I think, properly. There you go. I believe this is the Psycho Rules one. This draws into the D1 and D2 competitors. And D3, sorry. D1, D2 and D3. D2 is the one I don't have. With them being basically Psycho Clowns. These do come with rules, which I will show you in a moment. Came in the things with the rules. In the promo cards, I'm forgetting my words. But yeah, so these cards, it's enough space for obviously 2 people to play on. You don't need much space to actually play the game. I know it sounds from what I was saying like you do, but you really don't, to be fair. So that's the Psycho Rules one. I do believe that this one is just the standard LFF one. Actually, you could probably use one of these each. I've got enough of them. You won't have to cram too much stuff in there. You don't need much space. That's the standard LFF one. LFF Championship. The ring announcers over there, the crowd going on, it's very cool. This is the Ring of Fire one. There you go. Inferno match. It's very, very cool. I keep saying that, but it really is. I really do think it is. So, steel cage match. Probably couldn't have guessed that just by looking at it, I'm sure. There you go. And then this is a really big one which came with it. It's basically, I think it's the standard LFF one. But if I bring my camera up a bit, you'll be able to see kind of how big it is. In comparison to the others, it's like a fully double again sort of thing with a bit extra. So again, that's quite cool. I reckon I could use that one quite easily for a 3 or 4 player match, tag team match or tornado match very easily. I don't see a problem with that at all. But yeah, so that's the mats on there. See, the ones with the special conditions do come with rules. I'll just move these out of the way for the moment, and then we'll just continue on. I just have to re-steady my camera. Bear with me. There we go. Yeah, so they do come with rules, which are in here. These were the promo cards that came with them. You have some with the extra competitors here, and a nice big thick wad of cards there. I obviously won't go through them all. I'll just give you a brief glimpse over what we've got. So these are some of the new competitor stuff. Like I said, some of these I'm not a massive fan of. This was one of the new competitors for the set, which was Liger. I don't really like his artwork that much, but it was a stretch goal. Got it for free. Nothing to complain about. I'll probably use them at some point. Some of these others are ones that I want to do, and I paid $30 extra to get a promo pack for some of the cards which are going out of print for them soon, so I won't be able to get them elsewhere. This was one of the ones I really wanted, was Hamish Macbeth. He was an actor turned wrestler, so you couldn't get any more acting jobs. When you bump, you may instead put a card from your discard pile into your hand, and your turn roll is -1. Not a massive thing about the rules or anything. I just really like the look of his card, to be fair, and his finishes. But yeah, then you had Knight's Terror. Choose an opponent and their blankies gimmick could be quite useful. Scott Prime. I think Scott Prime's actually an indie wrestler. I'm not too sure. Some of these, I'm not too sure whether they are actually indie wrestlers, where they're just created of this and based on them. But there are cards within the Supershow where they are actual indie wrestlers which they've signed on with them. For instance, I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega has a card. I know Colt Cabana does, so I've seen the card for it. It's very cool. But yeah, I mean, these were the promo cards, some of the promo cards that came with them. So these are ones where you would replace this number card that's in the deck. So number 13, you'd replace it with this one instead. So you take it out of the standard one, whatever it is, put this one in, and that applies to all the ones with these numbers on them. Again, this is how you could vary it up. If you were playing it with other people, this is how you could vary it up so you don't have the exact same cards. Also, if you are playing the competitive in some of the tournaments they run in America, which of course I won't be, you put this kind of stuff in there as well, just on that front, just to try and get a bit of an edge on people. But again, like I say, it doesn't necessarily make it play to win just because you might not roll the turn roll necessary. You might not break out of that first finisher, and then you could lose. And all your cards that you spent hundreds of dollars on, worth nothing because you've done that. And I know some people would find that frustrating. Hell, I have found it frustrating when I've lost so quickly in a game, but I've enjoyed it as well because it just shows that unpredictable nature of it, and it just stops Munchkin power gamers who do pay to win. It's one of those kind of stop measures against that. It's very cool on that front. SLG University, the guys who do it, they are they're a very small group, really, but they have such a great community ethos towards the players. They constantly do this thing of play it forward, teach new people to play, get them into the game and stuff. They've been nothing but lovely to me when I've communicated with them. They run this kind of little grassroots campaign of going to various gaming shops with decks so that you don't have to buy it to play it first time. You go, right, here's the decks that you're running it with, give it a go, guys. Which is why I guess they've made the decks so uniform, because then you've got this thing of it being, right, well, you can pick up and play it right away. You don't need to go out and buy special cards. You don't need to do this, that, the other. You can just go, bang, there you go. And I know, I'm gushing a lot over them at this point, but I really, really do like them. It's a fun game to play. If it was all of this and not a fun game to play, at the end of the day, that would be completely pointless. All of this grassroots stuff would be pointless if it wasn't fun, but it's fun as well. It's that rare combination you get where you have that. Yeah, no, say, anyway, to get back on track on that one. So you have things like the promo card Single Leg Crab, Crane Kick, Press Slams, and the cards say the artwork's fantastic. The actual blatant chokehold, your opponent's gimmick is blank. So presumably for as long as that stays on the field, it is blank. And mixed in here, there are the finishes for those characters I just said. So, here we go. Again, newer art style, not a massive fan, but it's not terrible on that front. So, Liger's finishing strike is the Donkey Lariat. Not much more to say on that one. I'm sure people who know me will no doubt make jokes towards me. Hamish McDeath, Horns of Falstaff, +4 to agility, flip 3 cards. Diving shoulder tackle, looks like. The Loaded Glove for Scott Prime there, his finishing strike move. +1 power, opponent's turn roll is +5, can't be stopped. If a card is stopped, you lose the match via disqualification. If you roll power, your opponent buries their hand. Guessing... can't see for an object. Possibly, I was thinking some sort of knuckle duster. Night Haunter, the Sleepwalk. Old school there. Good old school. Submission, there you go. So... more promo cards. Smacking with a shovel. When this card is flipped, add it to your hand. If this card is stopped, you lose the match via disqualification. So it adds extra power on that front, but if someone stops it, it's finishing strike. That's, on this case, that's a finishing strike move, number 28. If it doesn't have a logo in the bottom of here, it's not specific to a character, so you can add it to any deck. So you can whack in the shovel in there if you want to. Liger's finishing grapple is the Cape Killer. I think that's a Northern Lights suplex, I do believe. So you can tell the difference between the older and the newer artwork on there, on that one. The Scottish Move, the stunner there for Hamish's finishing grapple. 5-star Heart Punch, Scott Prime. There we go. The Bump in the Night for Night Terror, Codebreaker there, very good. Cold Sweat. That is Night Terror's finishing submission, from reading it switched to him. Very nice triangle choke there. Do believe... yeah, no, that's fine. Exit, Hugged by a Bear. Fantastic. Finishing submission. Each time your opponent rolls for a breakout, flip 5 cards from the top of your deck on that front. Liger Tamer. Very nice, very shameless, very nice. Some of the references are very shameless, but it's all done in very good humour. So it's not done like to take the mick or anything. Or if it is, it's done with that same tongue in cheek that should be in wrestling. I mean, there's that line between personal feelings, the line between the serious likeness of wrestling and then the comedy style of it. And sometimes I don't like the comedy, it's too much. Sometimes I don't like serious, it's too much. But that's a completely different video. Anyway, so Scott Prime's finishing submission, the Primal Scream. Crossface going on there. If you roll power for your turn, roll this card. It's also a follow-up, so that's quite good. These are blank spectacle cards. So obviously they have no picture on them. You can draw one if you're artistically inclined. I'm not, so I probably won't unless it's stickmen. Distracts the ref. Once a match during your opponent's turn, when they have 6 or more cards in their hand than you may look at their hand, choose one, shuffle it into their deck. And then you got my back. Once a match during your opponent's turn, when they have 6 or more cards in hand than you, search your deck for a card, add it to your hand and shuffle your... I'm not sure what the your leads into. Presumably shuffle it into... add it to your hand and shuffle your deck, I'm guessing. But yeah, so I've never used these before, never had them before. Came with this one. I'm guessing that's a case of they would add it to the deck as normal when you pop them out once per match. This came with Vinny the Voice. He's the ring announcer. Once a match, if you ended your turn without playing a card, draw a card. I would only have one of these, one of them, one of the spectacle cards. Obviously, in these cases, you'd have... would not mean that everyone would be able to have one. Probably wouldn't use them against my friends straight away. I'd wait until we're a bit more experienced in the game, and then I'd drop them out and get people involved with them, let them have them. Right, so these are some of the promo cards that came with this particular one. Like I said, I'm just missing the D2 card. Hopefully we'll get that to add to the set. Promo competitor D1. When you hit a submission, draw a card. He's the... I don't know the politically correct term. Midget clown, dwarf clown, whatever. The shorter clown. Human Cannibals is finishing strike. From out of nowhere on that one. Track and Jones to draw one card. Pie in the Face. Running Bulldog. Finishing grapple. Dark Dreams. I read that as Dank Dreams for some reason. Too much internet. Your opponent buries buries cards in their hand at random until they bury 2 lead cards. That could be quite nasty, actually. Depends what they have in their hand. That's D3. D2's the really big guy of the two. He's the giant, so there's like a small, medium, and like a large one. Your opponent, he needs 3 other cards in play to play a finish card. That could be quite useful because that could stop those early finishes. So if they had just a lead and a lead and a follow-up, they couldn't play the finish right away. They'd need another one. It could give you another turn of breathing room. It's very useful. Let's see. His finishes are Stomping Around, Finishing Strike, draw 2 cards, your opponent buries 1 card in the hand. When the crowd meter is 2 or greater, choose both options. So when they've got the crowd riled up, so that's when the first finish has been kicked out of. Funhouse Drop, Finishing Grapple, so Razor's Edge there, very nice. If I can't. That's a bit better. Crowd meter is 1 or greater, increased to crowd meter 1 level. Makes it harder to kick out of. Hall of Mirrors. Looks like you're doing it to a female competitor. Like I said, no gender segregation in the LFF, Legendary Fighting Federation. Hall of Mirrors there. +2 technique, +1 to power. Add all opponents' gimmicks to yours. Okay, that's actually very, very useful. This was the winner of the Creator Competitor tier that was on the Kickstarter. Mr. Poppin' Twist. He's a balloon animal maker. He got the most votes for it, so when you have 6 or more cards in your hand, grapple skills +2. Quite useful. Here's finishes. You've got the Poppin' Twist Plunge, diving knee there. +3 strike, draw 2 cards. You've got the Twist and Pop. Looks like a running Power Slam. British Bulldog fame. Draw 4 cards or take 4 cards from your discard pile, shuffle them into your deck. Very nice. Balloon Bender. I think that's a Texas Cloverleaf, I believe. +2 submission. If this card's stopped, draw 2 cards. You might have noticed I have sped up talking a bit. It's because I don't actually have that much time left on my phone for recording. I didn't think I would be doing this long video. I do apologise. Caveman. Again, newer art style. Not a massive fan. See him on there. His finishes. Dolphin Splash, Finishing Strike. There we go. Dino Roll. Chomp. Also, going to take a bite out of someone there. Yeah. Finishing Submission. Your opponent buries half the cards in a hand rounded up. Really nasty. This is El Gato Sombrero. Roll power. If you break a roll, you may switch it to agility. Useful because his power's 5 and his agility's 8. Breakout roll is when you're trying to kick out of a finisher on that front. So in that case, if they've rolled it agility, let's say they've rolled it a number 10 or something, you choose to use. Well, you want it on a 10 on that one, but it'd be an 8. You'd be fine. It's fine. Catnip. One of his finishers. Being Stomp there. What's his face? I did that one. Loki. Meowplex. Can't quite tell what's going on that one, but there you go. You see, Kickstart Stretch Goal. When the crowd meter is 3 or greater, this card is also a follow-up. Yeah, there's a few of them in this time around. That's actually quite interesting. Cat's Cradle. Nice choking submission there. And this, another spec better. No finishes for him though. Lenny Adam. I think he was the... I have a feeling he was the opposite for the Creator Competitor, I guess the loser, as it were, on it, which is probably why they didn't put any finishes in with him. This one here is promos from the last set. I'm not going to run through them really. You saw them on my previous video if you saw that. Previous video again. They came at... Didn't really have a choice but to get duplicates for them. It just came as part of it, unfortunately. But it's fine. More cards. No, I'm not going to turn down more cards. This is the promo cards for this set was here. So it's just missing one called Trustfall. But it's not a massive problem on that front. So Total Recall, Finishing Grapple. Again, it's a no symbol. Replace it for anybody. Opponent's next roll is -2 for each card you have in play with drop or slam in the name. Draw 2 cards. Very nasty on that front. Inzaguri, follow-up strike. Inzaguri there, fantastic. Call out to the crowd, leading grapple. By 1 extra card this turn, or if for less cards in your hand, your opponent draw 2 cards. Snap DDT. Stop any submission. Nice, draw 1 card, +3 next turn roll. Walking Slam. Very nice. Draw 1 card for each follow-up you haven't played. Bury 1 card in your hand. When the crowd reaches 2 or greater, this card is also a lead. Lariat over the top. Dumping him over the top rope. Merlin von Berlin there. I don't think I can get time to show you. Let's do something, so I'll have to sort something out. Bury 1 card in your discard pile. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 to your hand, then put the others on top of your deck in any order. Very cool. Flying Crossbody. Good old Flying Crossbody. When it's 5 or greater, it's also a finish. That's quite cool. Full Nelson. Look at your opponent's hand. They bury all strike cards. Next turn rolls is +3. Now these cards, I got 3 copies of each, because like I said, because I was within the first 100 backers, and I was within the first 100 backers because I knew that this would be fantastic. Say I backed the last game, and I had no problems with it. Literally no problems with it. The delivery was really quick, saying it was coming from the US to England by USPS. I mean, this one, to be fair, they shipped them out last Saturday, I believe it was, and then they got to me today, which is, again, a fantastic service from America to Britain, USPS. No customs fees, thankfully. I am very thankful for that, because customs fees are... Well, they're bullshit, to be fair. Excuse the language, but they are awful. Just a quick over, there you go. More promo cards here. More promo cards here. I do believe that this one has... It's a bit thicker, so I think they're in the back. No, but it does have the Superman Punch. There you go, Superman Punch. I was trying to show you if I have them, the championship belts, because they're in one of these. Not sure. And like I said, I got 3 copies of these, and that's cool. So I can give them to other people's decks and everything. They're not in that one. What I'm going to have to do, I think I'm just going to have to do a quick jump cut, just while I sort my phone storage out, and I'll come back and I'll show you the last few remaining cards. I know there's been a few jump cuts in this. I am really sorry. I didn't really expect to go on quite as much as I have. I mean, if you're watching still, thank you very much. You are quite lovely people, quite clearly. If you've not, well, obviously you won't hear this anyway. So there you go. But thank you very much. I will